Magic the Gathering is introducing a new format to its card game, and Nvidia GeForce Now is losing Bethesda games, and more. I'm Andrew Dornan, and this is my show, What's New? Alright, so before we begin, you might notice an echo. It's very noticeable to me. This is my new room now. This used to be my sister's old room, but I needed space, so cleared it with my sister. She doesn't live here, well, whatever. And so my dad and I went in here. We painted the walls. We got everything out, and it's not finished yet. I got my video game shelves in here. I got my desk in here, the bed, and my dresser. But there's still other things that need to be done. I've got like a cork board that's like got a bunch of stuff on it, and then also my bookshelves and a few posters here and there, as well as like getting some new shelves to put more stuff on them and to take the weight off of other shelves. So because there's a whole lot of nothing going on, there's an echo, but once we get those bookshelves put in here, it should be less noticeable, if not completely gone. And if it's still not good, I might go and get some of that like that sound dampening material and just like put a couple of pieces, like maybe put a couple of pieces on this back wall and the wall in front of me, which has the window on it. But who knows? So that's still like get you caught up to speed. I did bring back a daily vlog, although yesterday's vlog I didn't really show the process of me clearing out the room. That was basically because I was way too busy actually doing the process of getting everything moved around. But with that out of the way, let's talk about that news. So our first story of today is that Magic the Gathering has introduced a new format called Jumpstart. This is meant to be more of a pick up and play kind of format, whereas the current format has you doing deck building, which can be kind of complicated, and you got to figure out how to do that card synergy to make sure your cards like bounce off of each other and you can actually win a game. The Jumpstart isn't replacing the current model. It's more like a supplement to kind of get people into the door. There is some caveats to it though. There are 37 new cards, but they are not tournament legal. At least they aren't legal in Standard, Pioneer, or Modern, which are your kind of like your bigger tournaments, but they will be tournament legal in Legacy, Vintage, and Commander. Now what tournament legal means is, well, if you probably figured it out, but it's basically, they're not allowed in certain tournaments. And that kind of makes sense. I was kind of curious if like maybe there'd be like a separate like tournament league of sorts for the Jumpstart decks, because it's like, these are they're partially pre-made decks, or they come in 20 card booster packs, but how you mix them with other booster packs and like potentially like even take like 4 of them and mix and match them into one like 60 card deck, that'd be interesting to see a sort of league based off of Jumpstart. But that's all like, I've given a lot of stuff on it, but you probably want to know when it's releasing sometime. More specifically, maybe the week or a couple of weeks after the pre-release weekend, which is going to be in June on the 20th and the 21st. So yeah. Also, real quick, I keep like stopping and like really slowing down, and it's because the echo is throwing me off. I have not recorded in a room with this bad of an echo, so I'm just like, what do I do? But it'll be fine in due time. But yeah, that is it. I am curious what you think about this new format for Magic the Gathering. For me, I really like it because it brings more people into the game, and that's something that I always like, is seeing more people like joining a thing where it's like, like they add an easy mode to Dark Souls and more people can get into Dark Souls, and then they can like slowly increase the difficulty over time and finally get to that like that traditional hard mode. But that's just me. I like I like having it in for new players, but maybe that's just me. I know a lot of people don't like that. I don't get that, but whatever. On to the next story. Alright, our second story of today is that NVIDIA GeForce Now is losing another publisher. Which publisher is it this time? Well, it's Bethesda Software, or Bethesda Softworks? It's Bethesda. Bethesda pulled, well, not all. There's still Wolfenstein Youngblood, but other than that, just about every other game that Bethesda put on NVIDIA GeForce Now has been removed. This is probably because of that whole misunderstanding regarding GeForce Now's business model, which a lot of publishers don't like. But if someone really likes your game and they want a physical copy, well, whatever. Publishers want to always have your money, and they think that having it on NVIDIA GeForce Now for free is hurting them, even though it's NVIDIA's servers that they're hosting the game on, and they're paying Bethesda. I don't know. I've talked about this last time we covered another publisher pulling their games off of GeForce Now, but it's just it's real. It feels kind of scummy where you have this service where they're like, hey, players can stream these games off of our servers, and we're paying publishers to host their games on our servers, which we pay for. But then once publishers realize that they won't be making any additional money off of the players on top of making money off of NVIDIA for the licensing, they pull their games, which sounds real scummy, but that is the state of AAA publishing. You may want to know what publishers are still on NVIDIA GeForce Now. They are Ubisoft, 2K Games, Warner Brothers, Sega, and Codemasters. Those are the current publishers that are still on NVIDIA GeForce Now. I personally think that maybe the next publisher to go might be Ubisoft or Sega, just because, I don't know, when I hear about publishers pulling out of something because they aren't going to make more money off of it, the first thing that pops in my mind is probably Ubisoft. Maybe 2K Games might be next, maybe Warner Bros. I don't know. But this is definitely the part where it's like all speculation, where it's like, I'm pretty sure Ubisoft might be the next to pull out, because it seems like Ubisoft might do that. But I don't know, they made Assassin's Creed Origins, which was pretty cool. Will that balance it out? Who knows? Let's see, Warner Brothers, I don't know. Warner Brother Games has always had a weird history. It's very hard to protect them. But, that's the story, and I would like to know your thoughts. Out of those five, who do you think will be pulling out next because of this whole thing with, you can't charge players additional money? So, yeah, I pass the question off to you. Alright, third and final story of today, not just in terms of gaming, but also in terms of website YouTube news, is that Baldurs Gate 3 is set to release on Steam Early Access within the year. This was announced by a Hasbro representative to investors at that Toy Fair 2020 thing. I always forget it exists, and then it's like, oh, Toy Fair. I guess it's like E3 but for toy companies, and it's always interesting when games get announced there, but I guess it makes sense because Hasbro is primarily a toy company and that's where all their investors meet, so they're like, oh hey, by the way, we're gonna go ahead and tell you guys about video games that we're making. Investors are like, video games? We were making toys, but whatever, we'll back this if it makes us money. But yeah, so if you want to get really technical, Baldur's Gate 3 was originally formally announced back in E3 2019, or more specifically the week before E3 2019, but now we actually have like a release window where it's like, sometime within 2020, probably the latter half of 2020, considering it was just talked about at the Toy Fair 2020 event. The gameplay reveal is actually happening 3 days Yeah, February 24th. So 3 days from now will be February 27th, which is during PAX East. The specific time will be 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's pretty exciting. And also, it will feature single player and co-op multiplayer, which is really nice. That's something I always like is, RPGs where, most of them are single player, but like if you can bring in like a co-op partner, that's even better. Because then, hilarity ensues. So it's really exciting to see. That's going to be it for today. Like I said, no website or channel news. Everything's just been chugging along behind the scenes. I did get a whole batch of mini pack uploaded to the website and scheduled, so that will be episodes 33 and 40. I'd been sitting on those for a couple of weeks. Finally got those uploaded, so that way we will not be missing a beat. And just on top of that, it's just things moving as normal. I'm still stuck at like phase 2. Like phase 2 is, I think, basically done, and then Phase 3, 4, and 5 all require funding, which you can take a look at the Support the Content page. And while you're there, you can find all sorts of ways where you can support me and my content. It's in the name of the page. But yeah, also if you want to know more about Andrew Dornan's What's New, I will have a link to the main show page. Or if you're viewing this on the website, it'll actually be a button that says back to the main show page. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you Wednesday for another episode of Andrew Dornan's What's New. Bye-bye.